Well, I see you have arrived. I admire your courage. And who am I? Just think of me as your very own personal ghost host. I'm here to tuck you in tonight. So, lock your windows and doors, look in your closet and under your bed, and hold your blankets tight, and prepare for 6 terrifyingly true ghost stories. Our first story just goes to show you that not only do we miss the dearly departed, but sometimes they miss us too. This one called The Family Experience.
The day before my grandpa's funeral was a somber one. I found myself staying in a hotel just across the street from the funeral home. I had never been close to my grandpa, my dad's father, but his passing still left a heavy weight on my heart. I couldn't help feeling a sense of sadness and loss, knowing that I would never have the chance to truly get to know him. As I lay in bed that night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was swirling with memories of my grandpa, and how I wished I had spent more time with him. In the middle of the night, I was jolted awake by the feeling of someone sitting on the edge of my bed. My first thought was that it was my dad or mom checking on me, but when I looked over, they were both fast asleep. To my surprise, it was my grandpa, looking at me with a friendly smile. I rubbed my eyes, thinking it was just a dream, but when I opened them again, he was still there. He reached out and patted my hand, and I felt an overwhelming sense of comfort wash over me. I fell back to sleep, thinking it was just my mind playing tricks on me. The next morning, I told my parents about my strange encounter. They dismissed it as a dream, but deep down, I couldn't shake off the feeling that maybe it was my grandpa's way of saying goodbye. Fast forward 15 years later, and I found myself in my childhood bedroom, this time for my aunt's funeral. She had always been like a second mother to me, and her passing was a devastating blow. As I lay down to sleep, I felt someone give me a hug. I turned around, half expecting to see my parents, but instead I saw my aunt. She smiled at me, her eyes filled with gratitude. Her daughter had hit rock bottom, and I had been there to support her through it. I think my aunt came to thank me for that. These two experiences made me realize that even in death, our loved ones find a way to reach out to us. It was then that I truly understood the impact of our actions on the ones we leave behind. And it was also a reminder that our loved ones never truly leave us. They live on in our memories and the impact they had on our lives. As I stood at my aunt's funeral, tears streaming down my face, I knew that these two stories would stay with me for the rest of my life. They were a testament to the unbreakable bond we share with our loved ones even after they are gone. Thank you for reading my story.
Wow, now stories like that would really warm my heart if I still had one. This one takes us to an old closed-up prison where some of the inmates' sentences are not quite up yet. We call this one the Haunted Prison in West Virginia.
Located in Moundsville, West Virginia is the old West Virginia State Maximum Security Prison. Now this prison has a long and sometimes violent history. Prisoners were unalived in their cells by other inmates during riots, and most notably, they were unalived in the electric chair, Old Sparky, who was built by an inmate from that facility. The prison is closed now, but you can still tour it, and if you are brave enough, even spend the night there, of which I plan on doing once I return stateside. This story concerns the daylight tour I took of the facility while I was a corrections officer with the state of West Virginia. Once we had received our initial briefing about the facility, we were allowed to tour it on our own and pretty much go wherever we wanted, even places the public isn't allowed. While touring the facility, I was in a section of the prison known as the Sugar Shack, supposedly where some of the worst offenders were housed. I was the only person in this section of the prison at the time, and while I was up on the 3rd tier inspecting some of the old cells, when down below me the cell doors slammed shut. Now this wouldn't have come as much of a surprise to me if it weren't for the fact that all the doors had closed at once, which is what they are supposed to do. But they are controlled by a lever from a central location which I could see from my vantage point, and no one was there, and the lever was still in the up position. Taking that as a cue, I left that section of the prison and made my way down to the basement, and the location of the hole. This was a place they say drove some inmates mad. While in the basement, I kept having the feeling of someone following me, and as I grew near to the hole, a feeling of dread and despair almost overwhelmed me. I kept my senses, though, and started to make my way deeper into the basement. I caught the glimpse of a figure, just off in the shadows, moving from right to left, that should have brought them into the light. What little there was, but they never appeared, and I didn't see them go the other way. Once again, I took it as a cue to leave. I went from there up to the medical and dental ward of the facility. No physical events took place here, just a sense of foreboding over the area. This has all led me to believe that something is still behind the walls of this prison and that they may never be able to leave. I'm going to do an all-night ghost hunt of this facility, and I plan on taking some video and audio equipment and see if I can capture anything on film or tape.
Well, it sounds like, to me anyway, that some of the inmates are still hoping to get paroled. Good luck with that. Our next one comes from a guy that saw someone or something in his sister's bed. We call this one, a ghost on my sister's bed. Gee, that's original.
I'm 31 years old, but back when I was 16 years old, I lived with my parents along with my 2 brothers, I'm a triplet, and 2 sisters in a New York City apartment Upper Manhattan. I was in my bedroom finishing up my homework. There was one math equation I could not figure out. Since my sister Pamela is a wizard when it comes to mathematics, I decided to head over to her room. Her door was slightly opened, and I walked in. I saw a medium-built guy, about 6 feet tall, sleeping perfectly on her bed. As I moved closer, his eyes opened and gave me a blank stare. I freaked out and ran and noticed my sister was in the living room. I told my sister what happened. That her boyfriend was trying to scare me. She said, "I don't have a boyfriend, and I didn't bring anyone home with me." I grabbed her hand and led her to the bedroom, only to see he was gone. I know it was no intruder since the windows were locked at that time. I was a bit disturbed by the fact I had my own encounter with a ghost. Before this incident, I was skeptical about ghosts. Now I'm a believer.
Well, the bigger question is, how did your sister feel about going to sleep that night in the same bed that a ghost was taking a power nap on? Our next tale is from a young lady that had some truly haunting experiences as a child. It's entitled, The Flowing Figure.
This happened the summer of 2006. We were on a family vacation at Oak Island, North Carolina. We were staying at a house owned by my aunt and uncle, and this house was the creepiest house there ever was. One day, me and my sisters were playing in the driveway, and the window of the room downstairs started to raise up really slowly, and you could see a dark figure standing there. We were so scared when we went in the room to see who was there, but to our surprise, the room was empty and the window was closed. Thinking nothing of it, we kept playing. About 45 minutes later, our mom called us in with an urgent tone. When we went in, she was scared to death. We asked her what had happened. She said that she had the feeling someone was in the house with her, so she said, "If this is you, Robina, haunting this house, then give me a sign." And just as she had said that, a cool breeze had went over her, but she was in no reach of the fan. Later that night, when me and my sister got up from bed to go to the bathroom, I saw a big gold mirror over the couch, but I didn't really think about it then. When we went back to bed, my sister turned over the other way and I was laying on my back. I kind of got scared, so I asked, "Are you asleep?" And since I got no response, I turned my head the other way, and what I saw made me almost cry. It was a tall white figure with flowing hair and black eyes. I hit my sister and made her get up and look, and she saw it too. We both ran into the living room, screaming, and woke our mom up. She was a very light sleeper, but she didn't hear us screaming. And as I looked above the couch, there was no big gold mirror. We packed up all our stuff and left that house at 1 a.m. When we got home, we told people about the ghost we saw, and they had had similar experiences. We also found out that our grandma, who had lived in the room below,
had owned a gold mirror. It was the scariest thing that there ever was. But we go back there every summer.
Are you bloody kidding me? After all that, you still go back every year? Wow. Our next story is about someone who awakes in a hospital, only to have something truly bizarre happen. We call this story the car accident.
My cousin, his best friend and their girlfriends were taking a road trip from California to Wisconsin several years ago. My cousin and his girlfriend sat in the back of the small Honda hatchback. The next thing he remembered was waking up in a hospital room. His friend and his girlfriend were standing by his side. He asked them why he's the only one injured. His friend said he was the lucky one and smiled at him. His girlfriend said she'd be waiting for him when he gets out. There was a knock at the door and the friend and his girlfriend dashed through the hospital window and walked his parents, followed by my parents and me. We were so happy to see him finally awake because they had a real bad car accident. He looked at me and asked if I had seen the others with him. His mother burst into tears. I didn't know how to answer him, so I said, "They're in a better place now." He gave me a real confused look and said his friends just came to visit him and that they went through the window. I was real scared. I told him that we were on the 4th floor of the hospital and that he was the only survivor. The doctor was never able to explain if what he saw was due to his head injury or if he in fact saw it.
Yeah, his friend had a gift for understatement when he said that your cousin was the lucky one. Our last one for the night involves a young lady who throws a party while her folks are out of town, but she ends up having an unwanted guest. This one's called Ghost Ruining My Party.
It was 12 o'clock at night and me and my friend Amanda had just got out of the shower. We have 2 showers. My parents were gone for the weekend in Hawaii. Amanda and I decided we would throw an awesome party that night. We invited the whole freshman class. Let's face it, a party isn't really a cool party in high school unless it has beer and alcohol. I gave Amanda the keys to go out in the garage to get it. She went out there and I heard a scream and shatters of glass. Amanda ran in and told me with very low breath that she saw a see-through man wearing all black. I said it was okay. I told her she was probably just seeing things. So I went out to get the beer. I saw nothing. I got chips out, put it in bowls and a whole bunch of things out for the party. People finally started showing up. We turned the music up real loud, and everyone was dancing and having a ball, and some people were upstairs. All of a sudden, my friend Heather came down the stairs with a white face. She said she was going to the bathroom, and she came out and walked through a man wearing all black. We told her it was okay, and we sat down with her on the couch for a while. She decided to go home. Heather said she was too creeped. Now everything was okay, and going great, and I saw this man sitting on my couch. He was acting all, I'm a freshman, chilling on the couch. Nobody really noticed. Most were drunk, I guess. I saw him. I told him to get out of my house. No response from him. So I called some boys over and they said, "What are you talking about? There is no one there." "I think you are drunk, Bridget." "It's okay, just sit down for a little and stop drinking." I wasn't even drinking though. I told them and they were treating me like they couldn't even hear me. So I just got over it. I didn't want to ruin the party. I mean, if I had a sweet party, I would become the main of squeeze in school, so I just went along and danced with some friends. Until Amanda saw him again. She came to me screaming and yelling, huffing and puffing. I tried to comfort her, and I decided I wouldn't let him ruin my party. So I asked him a please. Go and don't ruin my party. I can't believe I did it. I was so scared. He just disappeared right in front of me. I thought it was all cool, so I started dancing again and I saw him looking in the window at me. I just ignored him. I kept seeing him, but I didn't care. I just wanted to be cool at school until a boy, the most popular hot boy in school, saw him. I told him he was just seeing things even though I really could see him. Everyone of course believed him. He left. so everyone else left except about 5 people. But I just sent them home because the party was no longer fun. I wasn't exactly cool at school, but the most popular boy, Eric, now paid more attention to me and Amanda. I didn't see the ghost again since then, so I think he just wanted to ruin my fun. I asked my parents if anyone passed away in this house or anything about it when they came home. Only I didn't tell them about the party. I think I will just wait until I move out and they can't ground me. They told me that the people before us got unalived in this house and that's why we got it so cheap. Now I live in a different house very far away.
I'm so sorry, but I think that's hysterical. There you are, thinking that you're getting away with something, throwing a party while your folks are out of town, and you end up with a ghost as a chaperone. That's just too funny. That was some scary stuff tonight, wasn't it? But do you know what is not scary? Hitting like, subscribe, and sharing this video. It'll really help us keep the ghosts at bay. And of course, if any of you have a story to share, then by all means, drop me a line in the comments. But I do want to thank you for stopping by, and I hope the stories we told won't be giving you too many bad dreams. But if they do, then maybe you shouldn't run from them. After all, sometimes it's better to embrace your nightmares.